This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat, Brad Gilmore.
And she joins us right now. You know her as the Emmy-winning host of The View, as well as a New York Times best-selling author. Back now with a sequel to her bestseller, Summer on the Bluffs. We're talking, of course, to Sunny Hostin. Sunny, how you doing?
I am great. I'm a fan, Brad. You know, I know that you do a lot of that wrestling TV that my husband tends to like. So he says hello, and I'm happy to be here.
Oh, well, it's so great. I'm a fan of yours. I'm a big fan of yours. You know, I want to talk about the book, so let's start there, and then we'll get into my fandom of you. We're talking about Summer on Sag Harbor is out now. So talk to me about writing a sequel to this and let people know kind of what it's about.
You know, this book is really a love letter to the readers of Summer on the Bluffs. You don't have to have read Summer on the Bluffs to appreciate Summer on Sag, and because I get right in and I give a lot of the background. But when my first book came out, it came out during the pandemic, and I had to do virtual book clubs in order to do a book tour. And everyone had read the book, which is a benefit of a book club, but they kept on saying, "What about Olivia? I don't feel like I know enough about Olivia." And people were very attached to the characters. And I thought, well, I always knew the next place I would be writing about is Sag Harbor because the places and the settings are very much a character in the book. But I thought, well, let's explore Olivia. And I think she's really relatable because she's going through what a lot of women go through. It's sort of that imposter syndrome. Am I good enough? Can I have it all? What do I really deserve this kind of love? Do I really deserve this promotion? You know, what is my value? And she goes to Sag Harbor to find out about her father, her biological father's family, because she feels ungrounded because she doesn't know that side of her family. But she's really on a journey for herself. She's really on a journey of finding who she really is. And she doesn't really need to know about her father's family to know that. And I'm happy that that my book readers told me that because the reviews have been incredible, and I'm now being compared to Elin Hildebrand, which makes me feel great because I read all of her books, and she's the queen of beach reads, and so if I can be in that company, I'm thrilled. And it's sort of an elevated beach read, but it still has a sexy neighbor that she meets, and she's going to therapy trying to figure some things out. But it's fun and it's escapism, but we're also, you know, I also write to a lot of the things that were happening to us during the pandemic. And I think people are responding to that.
Well, you know, the book right there, if you are not sold on going out and buying this book right now, I mean, that is a great encapsulation of it, Sunny. Now, when you're going to write a sequel, so you write a novel already. I've written two books. They're not novels. They're nonfiction, not fiction. But I know after I wrote the first one, I said, I'm never going to put myself through that process again. It was mind-staking, painstaking, a lot of hours in front of a computer screen. So why do it a second time? Why do it a second time?
Well, you know, my editor, Carrie Farron, it's her fault. When I wrote the first book, I thought it was just a one book thing. And she said, no, this is a trilogy. It's not one book. And so she signed me to a trilogy. And after the first book, I had no idea it would be a New York Times bestseller, if I'm being honest. And it sold like over 20,000 books the first week.
Wow.
And then the pressure was on. It was like, people love these characters. They've fallen in love with them. They became real to me in my head as well, which was kind of strange. And then I thought, well, I'll just keep on going. But it is really hard to write a book. And it's really hard to write the second book because I wanted to make sure people loved it as much as the first, and they loved the first so much. And I kept on saying, you can't catch lightning in a bottle twice. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And I think it maybe happened because, you know, I'm getting these great reviews again. And I just find it to be such a blessing that people are responding to these characters. I'm still pinching myself, to be honest with you.
Well, when people find characters that they love, they just want to continue to see them in different stories and different situations. And
Yes.
the thing, though, I
Yes.
guess, is they start writing for the character in their own head, and they start knowing these people,
Yes.
almost better than you might even. Like, oh, she wouldn't do it
Yeah.
that way, or he wouldn't do it that way. I'm sure.
That's what they told me during the book club.
Absolutely. Now,
They were like, I don't think Olivia looks like that. I'm like, yeah, she does.
So I just want to ask you this because I'm actually very curious about everyone's writing process. What is your process? Are you the type that shuts in for the weekend? No one bother me. The phone's off. I'm just going to knock out 10 pages today. Or do you have to wait till you're creatively inspired by something?
No, I actually write on a schedule, and I have to because I'm on a daily talk show. So I have to, and I'm a mom and a wife, and two big doggy owner, and I have chickens, and I kind of live on a modified farm. So I have to wait until the chickens are nesting. I have to wait until the dogs are asleep. They're 150-pound Newfoundlands. I have to wait for my husband to go to sleep, and I have to wait for my kids to go to sleep. And that's usually, unfortunately, not until about 10:30 or 11 p.m. And so I make an appointment with myself, with my fireplace, and either my glass of red wine or my cup of tea, depending on how my day has gone. And I write from about 11 to 1. And I do that every single day without fail. And then on the weekends, I do block out a little bit of time. My daughter's an athlete, so I sometimes have track meets to go to and events to go to for the View. But I carve out about 3 hours every weekend a day. So by the end of the week, I've had, not 40 hours, but I've had about 20 hours of writing.
It's incredible. I could now I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna listen to this interview. I'm gonna write all of that down because that's gonna be my process when I dive into book 3. I need to be like Sunny Hostin.
Yes.
That's something that we all could aspire to be like moving forward. You mentioned
Just make the time.
make the time for it. You mentioned The View, Sunny, and I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about it for several reasons, but one of which is this. I'm 30 years of age, born and raised in Houston, Texas. Since the age of 7, I've watched The View. I've never missed an episode of The View. I think it is so important. I really do. I think it's so important for someone like me to see women be very honest, be very bold with their opinions from different walks of life, from different ethnic backgrounds, different age ranges. You can really, I think, get a sense as a young man, you can have your, mind expanded upon to perspectives that you might not have seen before. What do you feel like the importance of The View is in your estimation?
You just nailed it. I mean, Barbara Walters, this was her dream, to get 5 women together, different ages, different backgrounds, racial, ethnic, experiences, and put them all together and talk about the things that women really do talk about. I think at first people were surprised that women really cared about what was going on in Ukraine, that people were really concerned about what was going on in our schools. And it's an elevated discussion that women, when we're alone, we really do have. We talk about our husbands, sometimes nicely, sometimes not nicely. We talk about our kids and our worries and our fears, and it just works. It really works. And that's why it's been on for 26 years. I've been on it for 7, but 10 in total. I've been a full-time co-host for 7, and then on the show since 2012, which is remarkable to me. And it's a formula that still works. And I love being on the show. We're very close. We're a very cohesive group. And it doesn't get any better than having a platform where you just get to talk to your friends. It just doesn't get any better.
It doesn't. And I strongly encourage everybody to watch The View every single day like I do, and to pick up the new book, Summer on Sag Harbor, written by the incomparable, the wonderful, the often imitated but never duplicated, of course, Miss Sunny Hostin. Sunny, thank you so much for taking the time. Tell your wonderful family I said hello, and congrats on all your success.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Talk soon. Sunny Hostin, everyone.